What's going on? It's time for another episode of Too Hard for the Radio, transmitting from the future free state of Greater Idaho. I am the one-armed madman. And from the Badlands of Southern Montana, it looks like he's drinking water tonight. I don't know what's going on. It's Nolan 5150.
Hey.
What's up,
yeah,
dude?
man. Well, it's January 3rd, right?
Oh, are we in New Year's resolution territory?
Yes, we are.
I've never
you are
been
looking. You're looking at a participant of Dry January.
Ew, that sounds terrible.
I mean, you know, first reaction, yeah, sounds terrible, but at the same time, you know, you got to put your vices in check from time to time. So I think it's 100% think it's a good thing for me.
Yeah,
because I love my silver bullets.
You can't go wrong. You know what's funny is, like, it's been long enough with Bud Light where, like, you know, like, beer drinkers, you're not going to fucking just give up Bud Light if you've been drinking Bud Light every day for 30 years. So now you can see, like, people who are Bud Light guys are finally starting to sneak them back in there.
Yep.
Yeah. Luckily for me, I was never a Bud Light guy anyways. I fucking got alcohol poisoning one time on Budweiser, and I can't stand the taste of that crap. So,
oh, damn.
C- all day. There's some big news today. Breaking news. I don't have a button for breaking news, but the Epstein client list, or not the client list, but some, infos come out.
I mean, clients,
yeah, well, Bill Clinton may or may not have been mentioned a couple of times. And of course, Tim Pool was just on, and he was saying all kinds of crazy things like Bill Clinton likes him young. I guess supposedly some guy said that in these supposed Epstein books. So, we can't really trust. And Tim Pool got taken off of YouTube about a half an hour into his show. It was just gone. So obviously he was wrong because, YouTube being so great and gracious, they were like, hey, look, man, we're watching and we know that you've got these crazy theories, but we're going to have to step in and protect everyone from this insanity that clearly is unfounded and not true. There's Bill Clinton absolutely has never been accused of rape credibly multiple times. It's never happened.
Yeah, because YouTube is the court of justice, right? They fact check. They YouTube knows who has been to Epstein's Island, and they know that Bill Clinton never was.
They've got the files. And we don't need to see the files. All that we need is for them to pick through the shows that are covering it correctly and use their algorithm to boost those shows instead of stupid shows like Tim Pool or, Patrick Bet-David or Joe Rogan. What a moron.
Yeah.
I think they'll get it right. And Bill Clinton's great name will not be besmirched for all of time.
Again.
Never. Well, anyways, there really isn't a ton of information out on this yet. It's a lot of documents. And as soon as the documents came out, the site that is hosting the documents crashed. So you can't even go into the site right now because so many people are in it. Like, I guess Tim Pool, when he got kicked off of YouTube, he put the show on his website live feed. That crashed right away. So,
I just got done reading.
It has nothing. I don't think it has anything to do with people being interested in this. I think it's just bad weather.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's got to be bad weather. I mean, it's like rain, snow, drizzle here right now. And I can imagine that is hell on, government servers.
There must not be a lot of Jewish names on that list because we all know they control the weather, right?
I bet the NSA can't even operate right now.
Yeah, I just got done reading a little thing from that DC Drano posted, but it was talking about is it Prince Henry?
Charles.
Harry? Which
Chuck?
Which one is it?
Chuck.
Charles?
Yeah.
I was just reading a thing about him and the list stuff and.
Well, see, this is where this one gets sketchy because the witness or the, person who was
Jane Doe number 3.
I guess, yeah, whatever. This girl had a great night. He probably bought her a nice bottle of wine and they had a nice evening and maybe she gave him a massage. She says that he was a sweaty pig and sweat all over her. But Charles says that he has a medical, issue where he can't sweat. So obviously that one's not true. Debunked.
What the fuck? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure if you cannot sweat, you
it's like,
don't you die?
Maybe, I don't know. Like maybe he's a lizard. He's actually like a lizard person.
Shit.
So he's cold-blooded.
Oh shit. Yeah.
But that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, they've been here for a long time. At this point, I would say that they're probably marginalized. There's a whole lot more humans than there are lizard people. So based on the rules of marginalization, their voices need to be elevated. So therefore, he actually not only should be the king, but deserves and should be, like, because of equity and all that jazz, king. Yeah. It was his dad. Gosh, I don't. Maybe I'm thinking. Maybe we're mixing and matching royalty here. They're all fucking. They're all inbred anyways. So what's it really matter? But the dad, one of his famous quotes is, "When I die, I want to turn into a bacteria and kill 99.9% of humans."
Wow.
What a scholar and a saint. All he wants to do is save the planet, and people are giving him shit.
He's a humanitarian through and through.
And an environmentalist. Well, anyways, enough of that. I got some fun videos for this week. I've been working on you for how long have I been telling you to buy Bitcoin now? A year or two?
Yeah, at least 2. At least probably more than 2, but
and I think we finally are making some headway and there's rumors that you may have purchased a Bitcoin device.
Yeah. Rumors are true.
Goodness.
I have penetrated the Bitcoin orifice. the or maybe not even penetration yet. I have become fully aroused.
So I was telling my buddy TJ because when you become a Bitcoiner, it's not just dollar go up. That's great. That's awesome. Yeah. But you become an evangelist, and you have to evangelize, and you have to really fucking hammer the shit out of your friends and family because you don't want to see them poor. So I was telling my buddy TJ, I was like, I think at this point, like, he believes me. Like, I don't think he really understands Bitcoin all that much, and maybe the system is, we're getting pieces, but I think he believes me. So the job today is going to be to kind of see why Bitcoin is so fucking important, because it's a bloodbath out there, folks. It's a fucking bloodbath. All right, let me start my screen. I'm a little worried about my iPad today, but I think we're going to be okay. All right, we did one of these videos a couple weeks ago, and I love these videos because they're so telling of like what life is like outside of your immediate area, right? So here's just some normal mid-20s woman living in some city somewhere in the United States.
Anyone else feel like they're absolutely fucking drowning financially? As a single 29-year-old woman.
29.
I have 3 jobs. And I'm still fucking struggling. And I'm just getting myself farther and farther into credit card debt because I don't have enough after the first of the month to avoid using it. It just isn't working. Full-time job. Not doing it. Got a second job. It's barely doing it. The third job. Hit or miss. If I even get paid on time. I feel like I'm drowning, and I don't know what to do. I don't know if any industry is doing well right now. I used to be a server. I used to have all this cash every night whenever I would walk out with cash. And I don't have that anymore. And I don't even know if they're doing okay right now. Like, I have seriously considered quitting my full-time good job
and starting
to go
an
back to
OnlyFans.
serving. Because at least I can
Stole my joke.
I can just like use my personality and try to get more money than minimum wage or.
Okay, I cut that one early. I'll tell you a job where you can use your personality and they pay on the first of every month. OnlyFans. But you know, and this chick's hot. If you're just listening right now, I like and subscribe. Absolutely. But you know,
that was going to be my question. At the end of her video, does she give her link to her like fucking Venmo and her OnlyFans?
Dude, that would have been so sick. I like I said, like and subscribe. I'm fucking there. But dude, you know, this sucks. Like this woman is the design. Like this is not a function, like an accident. This is a function of our society. She has, not only is she drowning, she's probably drowning in student debt. She's got a nice car, I would imagine, that she's paying too much for. If she's living
her
in
skin
New York
looks
City,
great. She probably goes to the spa.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to the hairdresser every day.
Yeah.
Like, this chick's an 8 or a 9. We're not messing around here. She should be making money, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But, and just no idea. Look, I did everything that they told me to do. I went to college. I got the part-time job while I was in college to make it through. Now I'm out. I've got this massive debt. My job doesn't pay me shit because there are people here who can do it better than me with no college experience. They straight into the job out of high school or out of a different job, and they're killing it. And they don't have $100,000 that they have to pay off. You know, if you're living in New York City, a parking spot in New York City is more than my mortgage. That's not a joke. A parking spot. If you just live in an apartment and you have a car and you want to park out on the street, $1,500 a month last time I remember looking at it. I'm sure it's more now.
That's insane.
I lived in San Francisco. The last year I lived in San Francisco, I made like $140,000 bartending, which means like if you made $140,000 in your shop, you're giving, 60, 80 grand to the government. I was only giving about 25 to the government. So taking home a lot of money and just sharing a house with 5 other people and my ex-wife. And like my rent was like $1,200 a month. That's my mortgage is only $173 more than that a month. 273 more than that a month. People are just getting destroyed by this system. And the problem is you're punished for saving. If you're good like this chick, let's say that she did everything right. She got a job waitressing while she was in college, saved all of her money. I'm going to save all my money. I'm not going to go out and party at the bars. I'm not going to go to the hairdresser and get skincare and manicures, mani-pedi hour. We're not going to do any of that. We're just going to be tight. You're punished for that. Because your dollars just fucking degrade right underneath your nose. You just sit these dollars in an account and think that this is what you're supposed to do because that's what you've been trained to do.
Yeah.
You do everything right and you're just fucking drowning. Your job now compared to somebody working it in the 70s, completely different. Somebody ahead, a top mechanic at Harley Davidson is going to be a top to mid-level, middle-income earner back in the 70s. Now, dude, you're looking at your salary and going, how the fuck am I ever going to buy a house?
Yeah.
I know this because everybody's doing it. Like, you just go, and what else could you do? At this point in your life, you don't have a ton of skills. And the saving thing just...
I'm seriously thinking about starting an OnlyFans.
Yeah, you could probably, I was telling my buddy this the other day. My life would be a whole lot easier if I was gay. I've got no teeth. I've had 2 hemorrhoids removed, and I'm pretty sure there's a market for shoving this up somewhere.
Fuck yeah, there is.
My life would be a whole lot easier. My OnlyFans would be
Would it be easy
rockin'.
though? Would it be easy though?
Well, depends. Catching wouldn't be as easy.
It's just
But let's just say my love life would be a whole lot spicier if I was gay.
Oh fuck yeah! I literally just had this conversation with my girlfriend the other day. We were talking about, I was telling her about some Bitcoin stuff and talking about, how I'm trying to actually put some money into, getting the gear that I need to actually get going on it and investing some money, and that's exactly what she said. She was like, "Well, what would you think about starting an OnlyFans?" And she was like, "Well, I'll take the pictures."
Yeah. Well, chicks make money without their faces at this point. So, you could always throw that idea into the ring.
Fuck. At this point, I'd give it a shot.
And this is fucked, man. Like, you guys are in your 30s. You're at the point where you need to move on and do something else. But it's like, what do I do? Throw money away at rent every month and get nothing for it in return?
Yep.
Do I save my dollars and just watch them dwindle and watch my purchasing power shrink every fucking year? Or do I go do something illegal? And like that,
Right.
These are the options for people right now. And it's a fucked up place to be in. Like, I was in that chick's position when I moved back from Southern California, when I moved back up north. I had a good job in Southern California. I was doing well. I moved back home, 2007, 2008 hit, and holy shit. Restaurants are fucked. Construction's fucked. Everything is fucked. Gas was $5 a gallon at that time. So to drive from Cloverdale to Santa Rosa to work at a restaurant and make $60 in a day and spend 40 of it on gas, it's like, what am I working for? Like, I'm just, and this is why things like communism and socialism become so popular, is because our system gets destroyed so much that people just go, this is so unfair. And it has to be capitalism, which is not. Like, that's not the case at all. Socialists and communists are fucking idiots. They don't get it. They don't get central banking. They don't get any of this shit. They just think unfair, government, make it fair. Like, that's all it is. There's no like deep thought process going on with these people. It's just, my life sucks and the government needs to make it better. I was listening to a podcast the other day and I tried to find this clip, but I couldn't. It was some immigrant in a hotel in New York City complaining that she was getting kicked out of the hotel, going, I told my son that it was going to be different here, but it's not. It's just like where we came from. And it's like, bitch, you're in New York City in a free hotel room right now. What the fuck are you? You left a socialist hellhole in Venezuela because it's just a disaster. And you came here not wanting to work, not wanting to be a productive member, to come here and live rent-free because she thought she was leaving a socialist hellhole for a socialist paradise. Not the fucking case, lady. Like, this is not how it works, but this is what they think.
That's a real good, interesting point. Like, it kind of makes me curious with all the waves, of people coming across the southern border into the States. I'd be kind of curious if they're not putting out some, either TV or radio propaganda shit, just trying to be like, come here. We'll give you, it's a free ride. Come to the American
Uncle Joe says,
where
I would
everything's
rush the
great.
border. I would immediately rush the border.
Everyone,
That's what
come
he
on.
used to say. It's wild. Like, they really think they're coming here for a free ride. And we're not getting, like, there was another one I was listening to. He was like, I was a security guard in fucking Ecuador, and MS-13 wanted our ammo, and they threatened to kill us if we didn't give it to them. So I ran to Mexico, and now I want to go to the United States. It's like, wait a minute. You're not in danger anymore, dude. You're thousands of miles away from those 3 assholes who threatened to kill you. You've got a gun. And obviously, like, you can't fucking start war with the cartels. But like the thought that like I'm still in danger thousands of miles away from my home in an area that's like poor as shit. Like you really think that the cartels are following some fucking shit security guard thousands of miles? Or, hey, if you see this guy at the border, make sure and fucking kill him. It's like, come on, man. It's so stupid. But this is what they think, man. This is the United States, free ride. We're going to go there, and they're just going to take care of us until we get on top. We don't have a job. Oh, another thing that's going on right now is restaurant unions demanded we need to be paid more, $20 an hour. So now they've got a law in California, $20 an hour for fast food. What's the first thing that fucking happened? Pizza Hut laid off 2,000 delivery workers. And then you've got, I'm listening to some Mexican lady giving a sob story of an interview working at McDonald's. I've worked here for 10 years and, it's terrible. We can't survive and blah, blah, blah. She's doing the interview in Spanish. It's like you can't even bother to learn the language of the menu and you're demanding more. I need more. It's like, dude, do something for the money. Learn the language. Maybe you'll make manager. McDonald's is not supposed to be a primary full-time position. The managers, yes, but a fast food worker, like a normal drive-through worker, that is not supposed. Yes, it's high school, college, summer.
Maybe the third job for the hot chick, something like that. Then the one thing with that chick, I would first thing I would want to know is what city does she live in? Because
I guarantee it's New York, Chicago, San Francisco.
Probably, yeah, and I empathize with her situation for sure, but then that would be the first question I would ask. Where do you live? I'm like, okay, well, if where you live is not sustainable for the effort that you're putting in to make money, then that would be my first suggestion: is move somewhere else.
Get the fuck out of there. But you know how it is when you're in it. When you're in California and you're living in Southern California and you're in it, there's no other place in the world to live.
You never want to leave.
You don't even consider that there are other places to live. There's just not. Yeah. It took so much for like the mental barrier to be broke down in my mind that like you're not leaving California. And then once it finally broke, it was like, get the fuck out of here. This is out of control. I can come and visit.
Yeah, for sure. And that was the same thing with me. I mean, I've gone back and forth a few times between Montana and Southern California, and this last time, same thing. Like it was probably a solid 2 years of me just kind of in a mental limbo of I knew it wasn't sustainable being a single male and same thing, trying to work a full-time job to where the options of, working a legal second job were very minimal for me. But it just slowly deteriorated. My mental state deteriorated with it, and I was not in a good place until, like you said, I finally accepted my fate, and I was like, this is not working. I gotta go. I gotta do something else.
Yep. All right. So now let's say that this chick pulls it together. Her job, she gets a promotion, whatever. I can quit my second and third job. Things are going good. Now I'm making 60, 80K, maybe 100K. I'm living outside of the city in the suburbs. Like I've had this job for 10 years. I've got a decent savings at this point. Now what do I do with my money? Like I've got $50,000, $100,000 sitting in my bank account. What do I do now? So let's see what you do now.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you my investment strategy, and I'm gonna be as honest as I can be, and you assess it based on your expertise and tell me if I'm right or wrong. Okay, so I'll get down to my rec room, big screen TV, with my dab pen and my laptop, and I'll turn on Jim Cramer on CNBC. And when he tells me to buy, I buy, and if he says sell, I sell.
Yeah. You're getting financially whipsawed. So I think
Is that working for me?
No, it's not going to work. So I kind of buried Kramer in the book. I guess I'm not going on CNBC anytime soon for any interviews.
Why would you bury Jim Cramer? I mean, this is a guy with an uninterrupted string of correct calls. Buy.
J.P. Morgan of this generation Sam Bankman-Fried's FTX.
Listen, the best thing was it interrupted the string of terrible calls. But listen, he's had a lot of good calls because he's on both sides of the market. He tells you to buy one thing on Monday and sell it on Wednesday and back, and vice versa. This guy literally is telling you. They actually did a study on this where they put up his recommendations of what he said on Monday
Kramer
and then Friday. The exact opposite. Like one day he's saying the market's going up, next day it's going down. Buy this, go from this sector to that sector. That's historically, mathematically, scientifically proven to be the worst possible way to invest your money. They've gone back 100 years, the academic studies, and the analysts can't pick the right stocks. The hedge fund managers and the mutual fund managers can't beat the S&P 500, which is the overall broader market. And there's a reason for that, because all the information is out there. So unless you have inside information, which is illegal, right? And certainly the average person is not going to have that, or some other way to beat the market, whether it's high frequency trading with computers that are lightning fast. So some of the big firms, they'll time the market like a millionth of a second better than an average investor. They get an edge. But for everyone else, you can't beat the market.
Hey, and we laugh right now, but this is very fucking serious. Like Jim Cramer is, I think he's one of the worst villains in our society today. He destroyed my family's fortune, essentially. My grandfather did that. He drove truck. I used to respect him for this. He drove truck his entire career, 30, 40 years, and he listened to talk radio the whole time. He doesn't like radio. He doesn't like music, which is fucking weird, but whatever. I've heard Trump doesn't like music too. Weird. Anyways, he listened to Cramer. I'm putting all my money on Cramer. And he would sit up in his chair all day with the ticker tape on, watching Cramer, and he bought his computer, and he's doing his fucking thing. And things are going great. He's making money. At one point, he's like, here, check this out. And he's showing me all the money he's making. Jesus Christ, man, you're fucking cleaning it up. And then 9/11 happened. And he lost $1 million in one fucking day. Sold 4 acres. I was supposed to, you remember when we had that big 4-acre lot behind the house? I was supposed to have one of those lots was mine. I should have had a nice house built in that lot, but he had to sell it because of fucking Cramer. And get this, he got back in and listened to Cramer again, lost his ass again in 2008. By the time I was 30 and I had some money working in San Francisco, I had like 20, 30 grand. I go to him and I say, hey, what do I do? And he goes, honestly, I don't fucking know. Because I've been picking losers for so long at this point that I will not give you any advice. Go to a professional. And now we hear from, this is the Wolf of Wall Street. The professionals can't even call it.
Yeah.
They look at all these hedge funds and go, they can't even beat the S&P 500. So
isn't that
fucked.
the way it's supposed to be though? Like
Yes.
it's called playing the market, right? There shouldn't be like a clear cut, recipe or fucking.
There can't be, and this is why. So what you're talking about right now is macroeconomics. So that's our big economic picture. What's going on with these massive groups of people? People buying, buying and selling oil and gas, like big commodities, all these things, macroeconomics. And libertarian and anarcho-capitalism and Austrian economics, we say that there is no macroeconomics. There's no such thing. You cannot model a massive group of people. There's only individuals and human action. And individual human action together, then you get this big economic system. But there's no way to model this thing. There's no fucking, how many guys have I had on here talking about artificial intelligence? I ask them all the same thing. When's this thing going to be able to call a March Madness bracket? And they all tell me never. If it's never going to be able to do that for basketball, how the fuck is it going to be able to do it for 7 billion people?
Yeah.
It can't. And Jim Cramer's job is for you to gamble. We've already seen how your savings is fucked. The dollar is inflating. Right now they go, inflation's coming down. Inflation's not coming down. It's just not going up as fast as it was last year. We're never coming back down to a certain point. Artificially low interest rates, like Trump's got. We're at Christmas. This is a great segue into our next video. Christmas. My little brother drives me nuts sometimes. He's 11 years old. He doesn't know anything. He's an idiot. He's not even really a smart kid. He's just kind of an idiot. And at one point he goes, I can't wait for Trump to get back into office so he can fix all this stuff. And I just laughed and I go, what are you talking about? Fix what? He goes, you know, all this stuff. He goes, all this stuff? Like, what stuff? Are we talking about the economy? Are you talking about gas prices? Like, what are you talking about? Because we were talking about inflation. I go, do you even know what inflation means? And I explained, like, if we only had this much money in the whole world, you know, if our town only had this much money and then some rich guy came in and gave somebody, their family and friends, $1 million each, what would happen to you? You would get fucked. All your money would be worthless at that point. So he, you know, kind of gets it. But it's like, first off, Trump doesn't know what to do. He's never written a book. Like, he does not know what to do, even if he gets in there. It's like a dog catching the tail, like, or a you know, a dog chasing the tire. Has no idea what it's going to do with it when he catches it. It just go after the tire. So Trump will get in there and he'll drop interest rates right away. He's already said it. We got to drop interest rates. It's out of control. And now we're going to go into our next video. This is Tom Woods and Michael Malice on interest rates.
But actually, depressions are not a natural feature of capitalism.
They're also talking about our boom bust cycles. So I'm sure you've heard of boom bust cycles. You've got your booms and you've got your busts, and it's, you know, there's not really anything we can do about it. It's just, this is how it goes. It's capitalism.
Yeah.
This or that sector may go up and down, but system-wide collapses are foreign to capitalism without government intervention. Think of it this way. Imagine a master builder who has a blueprint to build a house, but he doesn't have enough resources to build the house that the blueprint calls for. So the longer he persists in working on it, the more resources and labor hours he wastes, because the project will eventually have to be abandoned for lack of materials. The sooner he spots his error, the better. This is what happens with the economy as a whole when the Federal Reserve pushes interest rates down artificially. It gives entrepreneurs the idea that there are more resources available than there really are. The economy becomes too ambitious, embarking on long-term projects for which the necessary resources do not exist. We obviously don't want fiscal or monetary stimulus at a time like that, because that just encourages entrepreneurs to continue along this unsustainable path, rather than making them realize they need to abandon it and shift resources into more appropriate channels.
Wait a minute, so you're saying it's like taking an energy drink and you're running around on that artificial high, but if you try to nourish yourself entirely on energy drinks with nothing else, you're going to crash and you're going to collapse.
So under Trump, we're going to get 4 years of energy drinks. That's what it's going to be. 4 years of energy drinks. It's going to look like, and that's, you can hear Tim Pool say this all the time. Under Trump, we had the best economy of our lifetimes. It's like, well, what happened?
Yeah.
It went to shit. It's because it was all fake. We were high on meth for 2 years. And then the meth came down. And what did he do? He just bought more and more and more. I bought more meth than any president in history. That's what he did. He printed more money than any president in history. And then he bragged about it. And that's why we're in the situation that we're in. The Democrats didn't do any better. Once Joe got in, he, you know, upped it even more. So I'm not defending the Democrats here.
Yeah.
All I'm really trying to say is that this is not something that Trump can fix in 4 years. It's not something anyone can fix in 4 years unless you were just dynamite the Fed. But I'd like to elaborate on this example a little more, maybe to kind of like get it into your head a little. You build bikes. So let's say that you meet some rich guy, goes, man, I like your style. I like what you do with bikes. I'd like you to build me a bike. And you go, look, man, I've got a full-time job, so this is going to take me like anywhere from 2 to 5 years to build you the bike from scratch. I got to buy all the tube steel. I got to weld everything. I got to, you know, buy other parts. I got to paint it, all this stuff, you know, and it's going to take me a long time. How could you possibly quote him a price for something like that right now? Yeah. You can't, because in 5 years, you have no idea what that steel is going to cost you. You go, oh, look, I've got to redo this spot and I got to buy another. Whoa, it's 3x what I paid for it when I quoted the price. Now you got to go to the guy and go, hey, look, man, he can go, hey, man, deal's a deal. You told me you'd build me the bike. I want you to build me the bike. What do? You know, this is fucked.
Yeah.
So again, like the people who save and think they're doing the right thing, and I'm going to listen to Kramer, he's on CNBC. They're just gambling on low interest rates. They force you to gamble into the market. What else can you possibly do except watch your savings account become more and more worthless. So this is why Bitcoin's so important. Like, our money is never going to stop inflating. They're just going to print QE till infinity. Just print till infinity. That's why Bitcoin's going to infinity. Not so much because it's going to be worth infinity, but because as pegged to the dollar. Bitcoin, there's only ever going to be 21 million of them. Every 4 years, the amount that are mined each day gets cut in half. So it's constantly deflating, where our dollars are inflating. So as time goes, barring any horrible, terrible disasters and authoritarianism, like, there's still things that they could do to try and fuck with it, but I don't think they're going to. I think they're so greedy that they're looking at it as a way to make massive amounts of money and not as a system parallel to theirs that could mean real trouble for them.
Yeah.
So I've got what do we got? 35 minutes right now. Nice. So let's, I was telling you before the podcast, man, let's look into where they're going next. And these people, they hang themselves with their own words. We're almost unnecessary. Like, all I have to do is sit here and press play a couple more times and just let you listen to them in their own words and see where we're going in the future. So here's some, shut up. I'll take my pill when the podcast is over. Fucking calendar. All right. Here's some young European woman telling you that she's going to enslave you.
Product is a service waiting to happen. If you think about it, I mean, your cell phone, why do you want to own your cell phone? How many of you own your cell phones? How many knows if the company owns it?
I do.
It's actually not a lot. I mean, you want the function, you want the service, right? Why do you want to own a cell phone if you can just lease it? And if you lease, why shouldn't you lease your refrigerator or your washing machine or your dishwasher? Or why do you want to own it? I mean, it's not like the plastic and the metal is like, I own a broke dishwasher. I mean, wow. No, why don't you want to go into a business model where the company owns it? You know what happens when the company owns it?
They take it away.
They can bring down the prices because they don't have to buy new metal and new plastic. They design a much better product. It lasts a lot longer if they have to pick it up when it breaks. They might even send somebody to fix it.
They might even send somebody
and
to
in
fix
the end, they will do a better product, and you will get a lower price. It's much cheaper to lease a washing machine if you get the business model right, because you don't have to own all of this. So this change from product to service is pushing a lot of this. Of the circular economy, because the second the business owns the products, they start designing them in a way where everything can be taken out and reused, and then you get the incentives rights.
Spoken like an academic who's never had a real job. It's just easier. They can make a better product. Oh, yeah. I'll tell you how this ends up. This summer, I had a problem with my air conditioner. I just had a new HVAC system put in 2 years ago. So it's 105 degrees outside. And at one point during the day, I'm like, damn, it's fucking hot in here. I go look at my thermostat. It's like 82 degrees inside. What the hell is going on? So I go out and I check out, and my AC unit's just iced over. Shit. So I turn it off and let it thaw out. Turn it back on. Fucking does it again. I'm like, God damn it, what's going on here? So I call the company that put in the new one, and they go, oh, that's terrible. Unfortunately, we're busy. And we'll get to you on Monday. This was a Thursday. It's 105 degrees outside. I go, whoa. We have elderly and injured people living in this house. And if the AC's not off, they could die. Oh, wow. I totally understand. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about it. But what I'm going to do is forward your number to my manager, and they'll get back to you right away. And as I'm sure you can guess, they called me right away. As in fucking never. I had to call another company to come out, and they were out within a half an hour. And I go, well, what the hell's up with this company? Did they just have a problem? And he goes, oh, no. He goes, they bought they know that you bought the system from them 2 years ago. They know there's nothing seriously wrong with your system. So they're just going to put you on the back burner. They want to go somewhere where they can put a brand new system in somewhere.
And make money.
That's what you're going to get. Oh, your stove's out and it's the middle of winter and you need to cook. Oh, our electric vehicles don't really charge that well right now. So we're going to have to get back to you.
I'm sorry. My My field service technician has
Yeah.
reached his quota for mileage for the day, so
It's so unfortunate. But take solace in knowing that you're saving the planet by not eating. And if you die, you die.
Yeah, that's what's scary about like what that last video. If you don't have any clue or any kind of ability of independent critical thought, totally skimming the surface of what she said, sure, yeah, okay, yeah, that sounds cool, yeah,
But see, this is like the underpants gnomes. This is like the underpants gnomes. It's like step 1, rent everything from the company. Step 2, step 3, happy. But step 2 is actually, we can't figure this out, so we're going to nationalize everything and just go to a socialist system.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's go to our Führer, Bill Gates.
Are we really going to make it from a fossil-based fuel society into a renewable society? Where do you see the new real breakthroughs?
Well, the rich countries have to play a central role, both funding R&D and having policies. In some cases, carbon taxes will be used to drive the demand for these clean products. And only by doing that in an aggressive way will the economic costs be brought down enough that we can turn to all the middle income countries and say, okay, change your whole cement industry, change your whole steel industry. And yet, it's not holding you back from your economic growth. The number of companies working on these things is very exciting. And some of them will fail. A lot of them will fail.
Oh, look at his face.
But, we only need a reasonable number,
Like
a few dozen of them, to make it through. And that's what we have to accelerate. Human ingenuity is great. We create the right incentive system, get the private sector companies engaged in this in a deep way. That's what the solution looks like. One of the hardest things mankind has ever done, but worth doing.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's so worth it, Bill. Did you see how giddy he got when he was talking about those companies failing, or about when he was talking about third world countries converting their industrial capacity? He's like, oh yeah, we're gonna tell them they have to change it. Oh, they're never gonna be able to do it. Oh my God, we're gonna kill all these little Africans. Ooh, he's sick. He's so sick. And you might say, wait a minute, Bill. Aren't you a hypocrite? You fly around in a jet, but no.
That if you are a climate change campaigner, but you also travel around the world on a private jet, you're a hypocrite.
Well, I buy the gold standard of funding Climeworks to do direct air capture that far exceeds my family's carbon footprint. And I spend billions of dollars on climate innovation. So, should I stay at home and not come to Kenya and learn about farming and malaria? Yeah. Anyway, I'm comfortable with the idea that not only am I not part of the problem by paying for the offsets, but also through the billions that my Breakthrough Energy group is spending, that I'm part of the solution.
Yeah, he's part of the solution. He's not part of the problem. Don't look at my massive carbon footprint. Hey, couldn't you just fly regular? Like business class, maybe? Well, I like to get there faster so I can learn more about farming. It's like, dude, you aren't going to learn shit. You're going there to peddle your fucking garbage. You're learning anything? Yeah, right. Like he's going to go out and learn something from a farmer that he wants to hang by his feet. And, when they say carbon credits, it's a carbon credit. The whole thing with carbon credit, when they say net zero, they don't actually mean that you're not going to produce fossil fuels. They just mean that we're going to pay for offsets. And for that to happen, somebody always has to be poor. You can't raise up these lower income countries, and because this whole area of forest that you're claiming is a carbon sink is now going to be industrialized. So what are we going to do? We can't buy our credit carbons if if this forest is industrialized. So, let's just keep these people poor. Nothing wrong with that. We need less people on the planet anyways. Carbon credits. What a sicko. Let's see what else we got. I like this guy. Here we go. Here's some fat fuck from the International Bank of Settlements.
Establish the equivalence with cash. And there is a huge difference there. For example, in cash, we don't know, for example, who's using a $100 bill today. We don't know who is using a 1,000 peso bill today. A key difference with the CBDC is that central bank
CBDC.
will have absolute control on the rules and regulations that will determine the use of that expression of central bank liability. And also, we will have the technology to enforce that. Those two issues are extremely important, and that makes a huge difference with respect to what cash is.
Oh, to what cash is. Man, what a sick fuck. I like how they, like Alex Jones is always the best at pointing this out. They put like the most non-threatening person they possibly can up in front of you. Go, oh, look at this stupid little doughboy. I don't need to be scared of this fucking guy. Yeah, you do. These people are evil. These are the Nazis. Like, they just dress them up in pink sweaters now. All right. Here's our favorite.
Now is, and digital technologies mainly have an analytical power. Now we go into a predictive power, and we have seen the first examples, and your company very much involved into it. But then the next step could be to go into a prescriptive mode, which means you do not even have to have elections anymore, because you can already predict, and afterwards you can say, why do we need elections? Because we know what the result will be.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it. We know Hillary's going to win. Trump has no chance. Madam President, crown her. Like, what is this stupid election thing? This is why I love Michael Malice's quote. Like, if elections were fair, they wouldn't let us have them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's just no way that these things are fair. We're going to just predict it. What could go wrong with that? These people are so fucking sick. They're just so sick. I mean, I do worry that they haven't made a move yet. So like Bitcoin it's so threatening to them, and it's strange to me that they haven't like made their move. And there's not much they can do. And maybe they've game theoried it out, but I don't think they're that smart.
Yeah. It seems I always and then my mind goes to like okay, well, did they create the system intentionally to create because you have to give the masses a carrot. You have to give the people some sort of hope to some degree, right? Like until I guess like there's the end game where it's just everybody's a slave.
So I've thought about this theory before too. So for that to happen, you would need some sort of like, okay, so let's say that's totally possible that the NSA created Bitcoin. Sure. But what's the end game on that? Right. So what are we doing?
Yeah.
We're just tossing them a bone. But if that were the case, it would be a bone that they could take back. And there would have to be some sort of centralization for that, like the central bank. You have a central bank digital currency. You've got one person pulling the levers. They can kind of decide what's going on. But Bitcoin is completely decentralized and distributed. So if there's one node running on one computer somewhere, the network is still there. The encryption is so good that they're not even sure that quantum computers are going to be able to crack this shit. And like, if quantum computers can crack them, the back end, like they're going to find quantum encryption that's going to be stronger than the quantum decryption. So there's not many things that they could do. So like in that situation, it would be, okay, let's get all these people, these stupid gullible sheep, to put all their money into this thing, and we'll promise that it's the answer, and then we'll just yank it away from them at the last minute. But you would have to have some sort of centralization for that, and that just doesn't exist. What other questions do you have? Let's get into some questions.
Oh shit. I don't know, man. It's just that I guess the ever-growing skepticism and doubt that anything is actually as real as it is, you know, and as much as I mean, I guess Bitcoin is probably the first thing in a long time that seems to be like I mean, by all means,
An escape
when
hatch.
I start buying some Bitcoin finally, it will be the first thing that I've ever actually tried to invest or actually invested money in, other than you know, just actual fucking goods or whatever. Of, you know, like I buy a Toyota. I've never bought a Toyota and lost money when I resold it.
Yeah.
Whether it was 4 or 5, 6 years later, you know what I'm saying? So besides stuff like that, this will be the first time that I've ever, you know, made moves to try to actually make my money work for me a little bit. It's really intimidating, but
it is.
Like I was saying, Bitcoin sounds like, it to me has, you know, growing up, you know, you hear about the stock markets and stuff like that. You hear about this and that, ups and downs and whatever. But, you know, and that makes me even more suspicious, because I'm like, you know,
it's
maybe
hard because you viewed these things, these dollars that are so precious, that they're your access to life. Like, without these precious things, I can't live. And people tend to look at it as like, I'm forfeiting something precious for something abstract. That, you know, like, maybe this is going to work, maybe not. Like, in the beginning, I couldn't really wrap my head around it. So it's like, I'm still viewing it as something like I'm buying poker chips, essentially. Like, I'm going to go in and give these precious dollars for these poker chips that, you know, I'm kind of just agreeing to part with at this point. But that's not it. And another big thing, like, and don't get enamored with these other stupid fucking shit coins where, oh, well, you know, I've heard this one, Bitcoin's so expensive, where I can get like an Ethereum for $1,200. It costs $45,000 for a Bitcoin, but it's not a dollar to dollar switch here. You're not like trading one for one. Like, you have to get your mind to think about money in a different way. And it's tough at first. And I'm not promising you that you're going to jump in right now and your money's just going to go up. Like, it could go down.
Oh, I'm not
I'm not under this is a long-term investment. When I first got in, I didn't know what I was doing. I saw a guy on Alex Jones and I was like, I've been hearing about this thing. This guy sounded like he made a lot of sense. I'm going to go buy some of this shit. I've got some cash in my savings account, and I bought in. I think Bitcoin was at like 15,000 or 12,000 or something like that. And this was, you know, back to in the last cycle. And right away, it dropped to like 10 or something. I was like, oh my God. And I watched my money just fall in half. And I was just like, you know, fuck this. I can't do it, blah, blah, blah. And I sold it and I got back out. And then, but I didn't like just throw it to the side. I was still interested in it. And I bought the Bitcoin Standard and I read the book. And I started listening to some more interviews with Michael Saylor, and Michael Saylor made a great like digital energy argument where, like, we've got a lot of cheap natural gas natural gas in Idaho is cheap. We have some of the cheapest natural gas in the country. Right now, like, we're the valley that I live in is growing like crazy. And we're always going to need more energy. It's just going to keep growing, and we're going to keep needing more and more energy. We could right now, there's nothing stopping us from building gas plants between here and Ontario. Just building 3 or 4 of them, and say that we've got capacity for 300x what we're using right now. You mine Bitcoin with that, and then you hold Bitcoin in your state, your actual state government can hold the fucking Bitcoin if they're doing it, or companies can be doing it. Your company can come in, however you figure it out. But if you were a responsible state, you could be doing this. We're like, all right, we're gonna mine and hold Bitcoin for 20 years in Idaho, and as our capacity for energy increases and as our population increases, we can pull these mining operations offline and use the energy. And then we'll just build another plant and build another plant and build another plant. The only thing stopping that from happening right now is the EPA and climate change agendas.
Mm-hmm.
And now, imagine, where is it? Iceland. Iceland has a ton of geothermal energy out in the middle of fucking nowhere with nobody to use it. So you're just burning free energy all the time. So what do? They go out and they build aluminum plants out there, because aluminum, you have to smelt it at such high temperatures that they need that excess energy. So they go and they ship that aluminum out to other places around the world. And now you are exporting your energy into a physical commodity. You can do that with Bitcoin. You can go anywhere where there's energy and mine that energy and transfer it anywhere in the world immediately. And that's an interesting thing. That's not something you can do with dollars,
Yeah.
And again, this is deflating. So as you're going through time, the amount of energy that it takes to mine that single Bitcoin is greater and greater and greater. So it's an interesting system.
It is.
I'm constantly trying to poke holes in it, and I call up TJ and go, all right, how about this?
Yeah.
So then, and one of my only situations that I really am afraid of is cyber warfare or solar flare activity, something like that, where the entire internet goes down. But in a situation like that, all your
nothing's going to matter anyway.
Nothing's going to matter. They could restart everything and start over with the CBDC, and there would just be nothing you could do about it. They could say, hey, look, we think you had this much money. You say you had this much. Why don't we settle in the middle with the CBDC? You said you had 100 grand. We say you had 50. We'll give you 75 at the CBDC. We'll give you 75 cash, or we'll give you the 100 for the CBDC.
Yeah.
They could do shit like that. And they can also do things where they can say, okay, you have your wallet and you have to connect to that wallet onto the internet and connect to an exchange if you want to sell that Bitcoin. They can, outlaw exchanges in this country to say, you cannot log on to an exchange from this country. And sure, you've got a VPN. You can use a VPN and do it that way. Maybe they outlaw VPNs. I don't know if you can actually do that, but let's say they do. Now you can't log into your Bitcoin wallet. You can't get onto an exchange. All you got to do is drive to Mexico. It's, again, it's not the end all be all. And I don't think there's much that they're actually going to be able to do about it. So I'm interested. I'm happy that you're taking the plunge, because it's tough, especially a year from now when we're talking about this again. You're going to be sucking my dick and thanking me. But aside from that, you're going to go, it sucks to spend the $200 to save money. You don't have to spend $200 to save money on something else, but
it really,
this is protection. This is actual physical protection, that you're in charge of your own money. You're in charge of your own bank. There is no fat fuck from the International Settlement Bank who's going to come in and slash your account for any reason at all. So with that, take some responsibility, and anything worth doing costs money.
For sure. And I've known that. And the $200 or whatever it's going to be to get rolling to where I can actually start investing is not that much. I spend, being a fucking mechanic and the amount of money that I've spent on the fucking Snap-on fucking truck is retarded, but
for sure,
that is what it is.
You've never been able to actually save money before. So this change, your brain will go through some rewiring in the next year, because you think about things in a different way. So have you ever heard of opportunity cost?
I've heard of that. I don't.
So opportunity cost is the cost of the next best thing. So let's say that you're buying a dirt bike right now, and the dirt bike costs $5,000. Your opportunity cost is the cost of the next best thing you would purchase. So let's say you want that dirt bike, or, you know, so let's say you want that tool from Snap-on, but you really want that dirt bike. So your opportunity cost is that cost of the next best thing. So now anytime you spend money on that truck, you're going to look at it and go, this could be going into Bitcoin.
For sure. And I do that all the time anyway. And I really try to.
It's not the same. I promise you it's not the same because you're not watching your money increase. You're watching your money stay stagnant and decrease in value. Once you see it start to increase in value, then you start going, oh boy, like that you know, that beer was pretty good, but maybe we'll try the Keystone instead of the Coors Light this week. You know, and it changes because you just haven't fucking experienced like savings before. None of us have.
For sure.
Our savings are on like declining from day one that you open your account. It's criminal. They steal your money from taxes. Taxation is theft. And then they devalue your money through inflation.
Yeah, that whole system never really jived with me, and you know, even a couple years ago when you were trying to convince me into getting into some Bitcoin and stuff, I feel like, you know, it's never not been in my mind, but it just you know, getting a little bit older and starting to think about, you know, fucking future, and then I mean,
what am I going to do next?
I don't even know. You know, retirement. What the fuck's that? I'm gonna probably be working till I kick the bucket. You know what I mean? But at least maybe, and a big thing is,
I mean, depending on how much your dollar cost averaging in, and don't try and time the markets. Don't go, I'm gonna wait for the next, you know, down. Like you just every paycheck you put in as much as you can, and that's your retirement. For sure.
Yeah,
that's
and a big
you know,
a big thing with you know, being in a lot more contact with you the last couple years and stuff, and at least, you know, you being such a long-term, you know, friend, and me trusting you a lot more than just what I think or what I hear.
That's what I was telling
read
my
on
buddy TJ. I was like,
or whatever.
Yeah, my buddy TJ goes, "Does he get it?" And I go, "I don't think he gets it, but he trusts me."
Yeah, exactly.
I go, whatever. Like that's good enough. As long as that gets his foot through the door. I'll send you a copy of the. I'll send you a copy of the Bitcoin Standard on YouTube, and you can listen to a chapter from time to time. It's very interesting, and it'll be fun to watch you kind of get it, you know, because at some point you're gonna get interested in it. Okay, or why is this thing? And like I was telling you before, like you can't just buy and hold Bitcoin. That's not good enough. You have to evangelize, and you have to hammer your friends and family constantly over the head, because once you see it, you can't, you know, those memes, like once you see it, you can't unsee it. Like I'm watching my family and friends get poorer by the day, and it just kills me. So it's like, just listen, just buy it and fucking suck my dick later. You know?
Yeah.
And I'm doing well. Like I got in last cycle, and then I got in again early in this cycle. And I think when I first got my settlement from workers' comp, Bitcoin was like maybe 10% of my portfolio. And now it's like 40. So that's not a bad deal.
Yeah.
I actually sent my money manager an email today going, "Hey man, I think I want to yank some money out and put more into Bitcoin. I'm going to buy another third of a coin or so." Because like I'm looking at the price going, man, like, you never know when you're seeing the last like low price point forever.
Yeah.
Because we're at the point now where like, I'm glad I was able to get you in this site. I wish I could have got you in a year earlier, but that's beside the point. Like still to this day, like if you buy Bitcoin next week, you're in before the big institutions. Like you're in before BlackRock, you're in before all these big institutions. So that's always, you know, when you're looking back 10, 20 years from now, you're going to be telling your kids, I knew about this before any of these big institutions did. And that's why we're not poor. Yeah, I got my buddy TJ, he's a contractor. He's going to be a multimillionaire by the time he's 50, just because he's been putting all of his fucking money into Bitcoin for the past like year. When he started working on the room in my house, I think he had like less than a Bitcoin. Like he had like a third. And I'm not going to tell you how much he's got because he's doing pretty well. And for somebody who's just a solo contractor doing handyman shit to like know that you're going to have the financial security for your children. And like, he's already got his kids set up with Bitcoin wallets. His kids are fucking dollar cost average, you know, and what a great thing for a kid to know about economics. As like, I just had that guy on to talk about Austrian economics for middle schoolers, and he's teaching middle schoolers this shit. So it's not like you can't understand it. What I related it to like when I was a bartender, I always hated in San Francisco, we were always shorthanded. Like we always needed more bartenders, always. And it was hiring off the street. And I was always just begging my boss, just give me the waitress, give me that waitress and that waitress. And they'll be knockout bartenders within 2 weeks, I promise. But I always had to deal with these shitty bartenders who have got 10 years of drinking problems and bad habits that I have to fix. Yeah. And that's kind of how it is with economics. We are all brainwashed with economics. Just save your money and you'll retire and you can buy a house. Like all of that shit is just bullshit. It's meant to make the rich richer and the poor poorer. And that's the game. And they're not going to stop. It's just going to get worse with these CBDC. I mean, we're not going to go through and watch the rest of these videos, but there was one in here where the chick was like, oh, we can make it temporary, like expire at the end of the month. So it'd be like food stamps. Here, we'll give you $200, but you got to spend it this month. Otherwise, it's just going to disappear. And that's the real model that they would love to go to. In my sci-fi book, that's the model of banking. It's a CBDC where you get a certain amount of money based on your job. There's endless bureaucrats. Everyone's a bureaucrat for something. There's bureaucrats for bureaucrats for bureaucrats. And you get this much per month, and then it disappears at the end of the month. So everybody is out partying every night. Because when you're out partying every night, you're not doing what me and you are doing right now. Talking about things that we shouldn't be. If you're just into football and getting your dick sucked, yes, like that's life. That's exactly what we want from you. Go bet on football, put some money into the stock market and lose it every 10 years. Like that's America for us.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. I think we made some progress tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Nope. Nope. I got one more video and I didn't send you this one because I wanted to spring it on you.
Here in Dubai.
Shit. Here's Bill Gates being honest.
I flew in on my private jet. Very, very important meeting. The issue of you peasants eating bugs will be discussed at length. That's never gotten the attention it deserves. The issue of COVID-19 not killing off enough poor people and my vaccines not weeding out the rest of you bastards, which is a tragedy, of course. We'll talk about using killer robots next. Chat absolutely solved that problem.
Yeah,
I'm here.
Why not? Good night.